It is indeed showtime. Glorious morning, Chop. How are we doing, sir?
Glorious morning, Pepito. I'm doing fantastically well. It is starting to warm up here in Australia. I spent half of the day not having to wear a shirt, which is my happy place. Not having to
Damn.
put clothes on or to worry is perfect.
And now,
Love
and
it.
now you're rugging us with a shirt and a sweater. We should have you.
It's nighttime now. It's cold. It's cooled down. So maybe next time. Maybe we can do a daytime stream from the beach or something.
Yeah, we should.
Keep everybody happy.
While
about you, Pepito?
working out or whatsoever.
yeah.
No, and I guess on our side of the world, it's getting cold, and had couple days of a bit of rain and cooler, and I managed to get sick already. So no, great. Immune system is really working out very well for me right now. But no, it's a good time to it's September, I've heard, so I'll power through, and it should be a good month, big month.
It's definitely going to be a big month. We already had a big month last month with the US government putting GDP on chain, which is obviously massive, and we've got even bigger stuff happening this month, which is exciting. Maybe not even bigger.
You're just out there teasing.
That's right.
People no, and we got a big guest today. Someone I really enjoy and like, and actually, he's quite the streamer video face on camera, where you see him everywhere. So Cash should be a blast, and I think I have a couple good ones up my sleeves for the next few weeks as well. So should be good. I'm just starting to call them out on Twitter directly, saying, guys, this is where it's happening. Beyond the Price is the stream you want to get onto.
That's the way to go, I reckon. Do public Twitter call outs. They never fail.
Just shaming them. Guys, I see you on a bunch of podcasts that nobody watches. Just come on ours that nobody watches as well.
Bullying works.
I mean, crazy. And no, and I see Cash in the waiting room. Quick note. Anyone's watching, repost, drop your questions. I think it's going to be a super interesting one with Cash talking about everything Jupiter and the Jupiverse, the cats, and everything. But yeah, is this crypto all scam? What a question in the chat. But now let's get Cash on here and get started. GM, sir.
GM, how's it going, everybody? Sorry about the camera off. I am a little under the weather. Although I was told that my sick voice is better and less annoying than my real voice. So I guess your viewers can judge.
I was going to say very soothing so far.
I should get sick more often, it sounds like. How you guys doing?
Doing very well, Cash. Lots of exciting things happening. The market is bullish. Everybody's running around like crazy, not knowing which way things are going. But development and the whole space keeps pushing forward, which is always exciting. So I'm doing very well.
Pretty great. And then after the latest announcement, so you guys are like Chop and Pepito are like deputy commerce secretaries, or like what is your new title in the Trump White House?
I'm going to say assistant to the president is I'm usually designating myself.
And I've tried to slot myself as the Trump golf teacher. So I just go on trips with him and play the nice courses.
Keep an eye out. I hear he cheats, but anyway.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, I've heard. So
you're gonna fit right in.
And who am I to say, Mr. President, put that ball back where it's supposed to be? But no, Cash, thanks a lot for taking the time today, despite the not tip-top condition. Super excited to have you on, and super excited to talk about everything Jupiter. And to kickstart, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and maybe how you got into this this crazy crypto Web3 world?
Yeah, I mean the background story is I don't know if it's interesting, but I'm not a tech guy, so I'm not actually like a developer or anything like that. I came into this through postmodern political philosophy, which is what I studied in college, and then I read the Ethereum white paper in like 2016. They talked about DAOs in the very first paragraph. Super excited about that. Immediately got on board. Immediately lost all my money. Immediately realized that the that the trading element was more suited to me at the time. But if you fast forward a few years, like I was kind of in and around and always talking about stuff, but never had really kind of jumped in fully until a good buddy of mine, Akshay BD, kind of grabbed me by the shoulders and was like, what the fuck are you doing? Come, let's go do some crypto stuff. So him and this guy, Thunmei, had a podcast at the time called Super Pumped, and they wanted to turn it into like a DAO community type thing. And that's when I joined, and that's when Super Team was born, which helped to onboard talent basically to the Solana ecosystem. Did that for a few years, and then most of last year, I served as Jupiter's, I think, first and only advisor, honestly, kind of helping me out, meow on some strategy stuff. And then on January 1st, I joined full time, and now here I am as the cat herder at Jupiter, which is my official title.
How are you at herding cats, Cash? Did you have much experience before joining Jupiter?
Not enough experience, and let me tell you, I don't think there's any experience that could have prepared me for Jupiter. I mean, we had like it's been very chaotic in a very good way. It's what I was looking for. But yeah, so I do some product stuff. I do a lot of like BD stuff. I lead a bunch of different teams internally, stuff with the token, community content, other things as well. You guys know how it is, early stage startup stuff.
Yeah, wear many different hats across many different verticals. Yeah,
That's right.
I'm
That's
sure
right.
very, very busy man. What sort of attracted you to the space? You had what was the philosophy degree you did? The political philosophy degree? Sorry?
Yeah, I did a postmodern political thought was like my concentration in college.
Okay. So that's not unusual in a way that so I'm not surprised that you're in crypto, given that that's something that you studied in university, which might be surprising to some. But what was it that attracted you to the space, given your background?
Yeah, well, I'd say first off, I think postmodern theory gets a lot of bad rap, especially like on the right and libertarian wings, which is most of crypto, who think that like postmodernism is mostly about like there are 7,000 genders or like whatever. Which it's like very much not. So what I was really interested in was studying kind of power relations between people and among societies, and kind of like how power it can be distributed. And so from that angle, I thought about like what crypto could enable at the time. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2016, everyone was like, decentralized Uber right around the corner, land deeds going on the blockchain. We're not going to need local government, like, all these kinds of things that obviously turned out not to, to take place for a bunch of different reasons. But those kinds of experiments, I think, were really exciting to me. And the idea that technology could step in to help kind of support those aims, I thought was going to be very cool. At the time, like I said, I was a philosophy guy. I didn't really care too much about finance. Then over the years, as I got more into finance and how important it was, and realized that it's, more than just like my checkings account or whatever, and how it is really the scaffolding for how the entire world operates, and where growth comes from and how people get lifted out of poverty and all that good stuff. Then kind of crypto took on a new flavor to me that I think has been much more enduring than the initial political angle.
Well, the political angle is an interesting one, and then the finance and philosophy is an interesting crossover, because I came from a similar-ish. I did a media an arts degree essentially, which encompassed a lot of politics and bits and pieces of philosophy, and that it really attracted it to me. But the finance thing was totally foreign to me, and one of the more interesting things that I found getting into crypto was the introduction to finance and learning how tightly interwoven it all was, and that it's almost one in the same thing in a lot of senses. Was that part of what is keeping you interested on the finance side of things? Because I imagine you didn't get into it thinking you were going to be a finance guy, and I find it really difficult on my side of things saying, yeah, I work in in finance, but it's not like, but it is at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's like I had this view that finance was kind of this place for shitty people to go and make lots of money, which I think is still probably true, at least at like some surface layer. But I, at the time, was like insufficiently appreciative of how finance is also, in a literal sense, like the growth engine for the world and for human well-being. And it's very hard to have good politics if you have bad economics. Like if your financial system in a country does not work, you're naturally going to end up in like very corrupt regimes. It's going to become very difficult for people to self-organize, and the kinds of political ideals that I think are very important cannot actually be borne out if you have, what we might say is like very dry soil. So this kind of having good economic systems and having good liquidity, can enable much better kind of human flourishing in human systems to come out of it, I think. And at the time, it was not obvious to me, although it's become more obvious now that I've been in crypto for a little while. So it's like one of the biggest changes in my worldview in the last, 15 years.
Pepito, you look like you were going to ask.
Yeah, and tell me if I'm wrong, but now I feel like I remember lots of things now connected to Jupiter, where you guys are growing. I mean, such an amazing, community, and really a bit of a planet in per se, with a bunch of products and a bunch of people that contribute. Where you guys have done a lot, and I think very well, in terms of very publicly sharing. Okay, this is how we think about, the things that remember is the rewards and stuff like that you stopped. You said we need to realign everybody in the ecosystem. It feels like your background might have helped to kind of do this in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly made me more open to trying. I don't know that there's any background that can make a DAO easy to do, as I'm sure you guys have also found. Like the DAOs, I think listen, we want to talk DAOs. I'm sick enough to not have too much of a filter and just say but I would say like the very early days of Super Team, the explicit idea was to make it into a DAO. And after just a few months of trying, we're like, oh, actually, this is a really bad idea. DAOs are actually like pretty bearish and don't work very well. And then I think what attracted me to Jupiter was Meow and his kind of vision and his seriousness with which he wanted to approach it. And so indeed, so the background kind of came in again there. I was like, oh, maybe if we do this in a different way than everyone else, maybe this can work. And the truth is we did do it in a different way than everyone else. And I think it worked better than most. We were regularly having 300,000 voting wallets instead of the 30 that most other protocols have, and widespread debate and genuine discussion and changing ideas and proposals failing, which was awesome. But at a certain point, it kind of reached its limit. And it became clear that we needed to do some really big changes. And indeed, like the background helps in that as well. Like one of the things that studying the history of politics will teach you is that political systems do not last for very long. On Twitter, my little background image is all palaces are temporary palaces. And I just really feel that to be an accurate description of the world. Like France has had 7 republics in the last 120 years or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting the number slightly wrong.
It's 5.
It's like, yeah, it's 5. Yeah, there you go. So it's like these things in France, birthplace of democracy, a bastion of politics, right? These things change all the time, and you kind of need to reset systems, I think, pretty frequently in order to get them to be right. And this idea that like the way you set up the system should be the only way that it ever exists in perpetuity, I don't think is a productive one. And so, maybe a little bit of that bled into the way that we approached it and thought about it. But right now, like literally yesterday, I was on a bunch of calls trying to figure out what DAO 2.0 might be able to look like.
What might that look like, Cash? Is it going to be something that people have not seen before, or a hybrid model of other things that exist? Or I'm curious to know how you guys are thinking. You might not be able to divulge too much, but I'm really curious to know.
I can tell you the honest truth from my own opinion. So not saying like what it is going to look like, because there's a lot of very strong and different opinions in this mix, both internally within the Jupiter team and in the community. And let me in particular shout out the community. They are they have very strong opinions, which is great. That's exactly what you would want, right? Like communities die with apathy, and so we have plenty of energy to make sure that does not happen. So shout out to Ferry and LT and all these other people that are doing a lot of good thinking on it. I would say, in my opinion, DAOs can work when they are very nichely scoped. And so the half decent DAOs that you see in the Ethereum landscape work because it's very clear what they're doing is like protocol tinkering, right? Like we're approving new risk parameters or approving a new asset to be added and so on and so forth. And when there's complete clarity on what the DAO is supposed to do and what its boundaries are, I think it has a chance of working. And I think the first iteration of the DAO did not have that. Where it's really just like, hey, sometimes we'll vote on a logo, and sometimes we're going to vote on a $3 billion token decision, and sometimes we're going to vote on a $50,000 budget decision, and it was just kind of like all over the place. And some of that was good and experimental and whatever else, but much more narrow scoping, I think, would make sense, in my personal opinion. Things that directly touch the treasury is basically all the DAO should focus on. So just how do you deploy the treasury in the spirit of growing Jupiter? That's as simple as that. The second thing I would love to see is a representative system. I think direct democracy at our scale is just very difficult to hold together. And so, representative democracy pretty common in most of the world. And so doing something there. And then the third idea that I would really like to do, and the credit for this one goes to Wasi Lawyer, aka YK on the team, is exploring how we can create concepts of citizenship. So anyone being able to hold the token and stake it for 30 days, and then having say in the politics of the system, attracted a lot of random people. And really what we want is probably not 300,000 people, but 3,000 people that are here with Jupiter, ride or die until 2030 and beyond.
Yeah.
And so the idea is what kind of commitment can they make and what kind of value can we offer in return that allows us to concentrate the voices that are voting to ensure that they're actually more long-term aligned than just people who have elected to click stake on the website. And I think that the kind of citizenship concept has been underexplored in crypto generally, where mostly it just evolves to, do you hold a token, then you're in, rather than asking something of people in some kind of serious way. All right,
Yeah,
that's what I'll say at the top level.
I find that fascinating. I really like I don't know what that citizenship thing looks like necessarily, but I find that fascinating because at the moment the incentive structures and incentive designs in crypto are all over the place, and then they don't necessarily lend themselves to people who, like you say, are long-term aligned participating. And a lot of people are just there to collect their rewards and then leave. And they're not necessarily reading the governance proposals, taking into account everything that's going on, and then making informed decisions. So that's a fascinating idea, Cash.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is to figure out how do you get the people that really care and make sure that their voices count for more, and B, how do you make sure that they're just focused on the narrow set of things that make sense to decentralize. The basic truth is, and I mean this with all due respect to every Jup holder out there, we have a pretty good sense on how to build high-scale products at Jupiter, right? We launched Jupiter Land, we're at 950 million in a week. I don't really need the governance to be involved. I need user feedback, I need ideations, I need introductions. There's things that I need from other people. It's not like I can do it myself or we can do it ourselves. But we certainly don't need governance proposals to be should we do a lending protocol or not? That's not a decision that we need any help on. That doesn't benefit from decentralization. And so scoping it to where does decentralization actually add in more value, whether it's through social signaling or wisdom of the crowds or other things. That's, and so I can imagine token swaps with their treasuries, investments into startups that can actually grow and use Jupiter APIs and help grow it from that perspective. Sponsor, identifying sponsorships, creating public market access vehicles, funding a DAT via the DAO would be, I think, a really cool and interesting idea. Things like that are much more suited to what the DAO should be doing, in my opinion.
You mentioned getting people to care as part of that reply. I want to ask, how do you get people to care within this space that has such weird and wacky incentive alignment? How do you get people to care about something that, on the face of it, is kind of boring? And like you said at the start, as finance is sort of perceived to be and almost a bad place where people go to make money and extract things. So how do you get people to care about that kind of space and that kind of dynamic beyond them just extracting money for themselves or extracting value for themselves?
This is actually maybe like the biggest change that's happened in my own thinking. And I think it's somewhat counterintuitive, where that was the frame that I used to think about a lot as well. We got all these token holders. How do I make sure that they care about these proposals? And I think, especially with the benefit of the pause, what I've come to appreciate is, rather than trying to get people to care, the real question is, how do you find the people that care already, that don't need to be sold? I don't think that political engagement is something that you sell to people. It is something that is kind of bought by them if they want it, and if they feel strongly enough. Now, on the margin, there are ways and things that you can do to take users and make them really care about the future of the protocol. But the expectation that, my cousin with 2 kids who trades like, $10,000 of crypto every month, like the idea of trying to get him to care about governance, I think is actually a mistake. And it, like, you end up either bringing in people that are going to be counterproductive, or wasting energy, or diluting the actual insight that the community can bring. So yeah, it's about finding who are the people that actually want to participate, making sure you're able to find them very easily. And then, as my guy Scarlett is saying in the chat, kind of like aligning them in this long-term perspective, both where they're giving something up. I think that part's like really critical, as well as getting something back in return in the future.
Yeah. What have you found to be the most effective way to find these people? I know from on my side of things, for within the Pyth community, it's mostly just having lots and lots of conversations with as many people as I possibly can, and giving them the avenue and the means to build themselves up within the space, and to build themselves up around Pyth because they really care about it, and then giving them a way to express that outwardly to the rest of the crypto space. Let's say, how do you go about finding these people?
I think it's a 3-step process, right? So the first is, you need to have some kind of clearly articulated mission that can serve as the kind of lighthouse that draws people in. And you need to create the content that gets it out into the world, so they actually understand what's going on. Actually, you know what? A different answer to this question is, like, I think you can think about it almost like a software marketing funnel, right? Where you have like awareness at the top, then you need to get them to like actually activate in some fashion, buy their first token, cast their first vert. Then you need to like think about retention and those kinds of things. And I think at each step of that funnel, you can probably have different tactics and strategies. For us, the Jupe research forums are like incredibly active with a lot of very long form posts. We do lots of town halls. We do, there's dedicated channels in the Discord. So you create the space for people to be able to talk, and that definitely helps. And then I think, we go out there, I do podcasts like this, and we talk about governance and whatever else. That helps. Getting press helps. But honestly, I don't think we've cracked it fully. I do think that the community that's done the best at this, I think, is the Futarchy community. Despite Futarchy's own, how do I say, eccentricities, I suppose. Like, I think that they're spinning down the Mountain Capital experiment now and returning the treasury. But they have done a really great job of like making sure that the people that care are over there. Some of that's virtue signaling in a good sense. Like, I don't mean that negative. Like, I think virtue signaling can be very positive if you have genuine virtue. And they've done a really good job of that. Partnerships are really important. And then, empowering the community is like the kind of cliched way to say it, but it is true. Is that like, Profit and Colin and those guys don't really control things in the way that a lot of other startup founders do. So handing over that control is probably the most frightening part of all of this.
Let's see.
Listen to this community chats talk on this topic for a while. But catch to now, I guess, go back to last week, I believe. Yeah, last week. Jupeland. Big launch. Numbers are the chart. The chart look like this. I'm not sure I'm in the correct side. Chart look like this. I think your guys are close to 1 billion now in total value. I guess the deposited and so on.
Yeah.
How has it gone so far? Hot off a week of this, and what's coming that is exciting you on Jupeland?
Well, I would say that it's wildly outperformed even our most bullish internal estimates. I actually, the day before we launched, I asked the team that's working on it. So this is in collaboration with the boys over at Fluid, who you guys obviously know well, and many of your listeners will probably know as well. One of the leading DeFi protocols on Ethereum. So it's been kind of a team up effort between some folks from Jupiter and some folks from Fluid. The day before we launched, I asked everyone, what is 24 hours? What's our total market size? Tell me. Someone was like, I think it's probably like 70 million. Someone was like, I think it'll be like 90 million. Someone else was like, I said 120, thinking I was the most bullish person on the call. The actual most bullish person on the call said 200. And we all laughed. I was like, oh, what a dream. We had 500 in the first 24 hours. So like when I say that it smashed our, like, I'm telling you, that is, no one was listening. We were being honest and being like trying to be bullish. You could not have imagined how fast it's gone. I was joking around saying that like, hey, if we can get 1 billion in the first month, this is going to be a smashing success. And right now we're 75 million off doing 1 billion in the first week. So, Chop, if you want to go off camera and just put all your funds in and get us to 1 billion, that'd be lovely, buddy. We are, but yeah, it's been like incredible to see. The systems have worked. That was obviously like one kind of fear. This is still technically a public beta. In borrow lend protocols, I think it's really important for the code to be open sourced. And we're not open sourced yet because we're still in this beta phase. So to see this much attention now, I think is that's like probably the number one thing that excites me. In 4-ish weeks, when we're able to open source, once the 4th audit is completed, I think we're going to see just like a mad rush of TVL from whales that I've spoken to, from funds that I've spoken to. That is like a risk and compliance requirement for them to move in with, whatever that is, 8-figure size. Hard for them to do that without like some more trust guarantees. So that's probably number one. But actually, there's one other thing that's really been exciting for me. It might sound disingenuous, but I really do mean this, is that Kamino's TVL has not dropped that much. I think that is actually so goddamn bullish for the Solana ecosystem. So Kamino, obviously, by far the market leader in borrow lend. There was definitely some fear early on of like, hey, if all we're doing is kind of taking this pie and redividing it and just going after somebody else's TVL, is that really that interesting? Is that really that good for this ecosystem? Probably not, right? So for us to launch, hit nearly 1 billion and see barely any of that TVL leave means this is primarily, like the vast majority of this is net new money in Solana lending markets, whether it's from Jupiter users who have never done it before and now are open to it because they trust the brand and they trust the experience, whether it's from Ethereum funds that are bridged over because we collaborated with Fluid on this, or something else entirely. I don't even know, but it's been pretty incredible to see from that perspective. That this has really been like a grow the pie. The total amount supplied on Solana has just grown and has not been just reallocated in this kind of transactional mercenary way.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, if because I would expect a bunch of Jupe users, kind of are very, I guess, loyal to the brand in a sense that, we know we go swap on Jupiter. We use I can't remember the name of all the products, but the portfolio.
We have too many of them.
The launch, the Creator Studio and so on.
Yep.
But yeah, I was expecting to, imagine like a bunch of like, now I can, don't let my my SOL, my USD, see whatever stable coins they use, not sit idle and kind of, earn or borrow or the multiply as well. Well, you guys have come out with all the, I guess, the couple features that you expect from a borrow lending to make my money work for me. So, congrats on the launch, first of all.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Long way to go. I do think, and we can dive into the technical details if you guys are interested, but because of the way that the protocol is architected, we can make this really easily extendable. So for the first few weeks, certainly until we get open source, it's going to stay earn, borrow, multiply. You're just going to see the things that you're used to seeing. But in the coming months, I think we have some very fun experimental ideas on new things that we could do as well. But yeah, it's a good start, if nothing else.
How long do you expect to be in beta for the lend and borrowing cash? Obviously, you don't have an exact date, but do you have
I would assume it's a little bit audit dependent. So we've completed 2 audits have been published. The 3rd audit's going to get published in the next few days. I think it actually might be published today. I'm not sure. But we have one last audit being done with OtterSec, which is a really reputable firm. They move a little slow because they're very, very thorough. That's what we love about them.
Mhm.
But we want to wait till that fourth audit's completed. They've told us that's end of September. We'll see. Anyone who works in tech knows the deadlines are malleable. But so, yeah, I would say if it's not open source by the end of October, if the beta is not over by the end of October, that would be surprising to me.
Yeah. Okay. What's the Jupyter has a lot of different products that all kind of feed into one another. What's the kind of holistic overview of where Jupyter wants to end up? Is it the being the go-to hub on Solana for all money market type stuff, or is it something else entirely?
Yeah, I would say, think bigger. Our goal is really just to be the consumer face of DeFi, that if anyone is interacting with DeFi, they should be using Jupyter. Now, critically, this is either Jupyter as a product or Jupyter as a platform. And the product piece is, pretty obvious. Number one in TVL on Solana, number one in trading volume, number one in users, number one in blah, blah, blah. Like people like the product a lot. And we want to keep going there. And as you say, there's a bunch of ways which having multiple products can reinforce each other. For right now, for example, we have these things called quick accounts, which you can deposit in and then you can just instantly buy and so on. It kind of works like whatever GMGN or any of these other apps. Inside of those now, there's a little drawer above every token that has yield on it. We just automatically say, hey, go to Jupyter Lend and get 9%. And that's part of the reason why we've seen such big inflows, right? So their product itself reinforces itself in a bunch of different ways. And the goal is anything that you want to do in DeFi, you can go to jupe.ag and you can do it. And there's probably a few verticals you guys can think of that we don't have yet that I can promise you we are going to have. And then beyond that, it's really growing out the platform element as well. Seeing people like Robinhood and stuff come on chain, it's clear that they see the value in DeFi and that their users want DeFi, whether it's borrow lend, access to long tail tokens, perps on long tail assets, etc. And we really want to be building for them as well. So to enable basically everyone to get access to DeFi is a high priority for us too.
Is the Jupe, because I'm very more mobile. Is the goal is to integrate all of this in Jupyter Mobile?
Correct. Yeah. Jupyter Mobile, I think, is existential to the future of the company and to the industry. Mobile as a whole is for the industry, Jupyter Mobile for us specifically, I should say. But yeah, the goal is on a relatively short time frame to be able to do everything that you do on Jupe Web, you should be able to do on your phone as well. We also do have a desktop, a Chrome extension wallet coming in the next few weeks. That should ship before the end of Q3, inshallah. And that should, I think, only further kind of reinforce the kind of mobile growth. Because right now, the number one obstacle or rejection that we get from users is we want to move fully into the Jupyter ecosystem. We can't because we do a lot of stuff on our laptops and we're not able to use Jupyter on our laptops like that. So we're going to fix that. And then I think that should definitely help. But yes, within mobile, I think the earn vaults go out this week. Possibly next week. I can't remember. We'll get borrow in there soon after. What can I say? I can just say, I guess, portfolio is already in there. Perps is not in there yet. Would be pretty cool if it was. We'll get everything in there in short order.
The Jupyter Mobile would be the one-stop shop. I like that you guys are putting a focus on mobile. There is at the moment still, after somehow 5+ years in the space, very few really nice seamless mobile experiences within crypto, and I'm not exactly sure why, actually, Cash. Perhaps you've got some insights into that as to why, but obviously mobile experiences are a huge part of onboarding retail users and non-crypto people, because it's where the majority of people spend their lives nowadays.
Yeah, I think the main reason is that the crypto, even more so than most other industries, is kind of like power law denominated, in the sense that you really, let's look at Hyperliquid as one example. Absolutely crushed it. They have something like 30,000 traders.
Did we lose?
About it?
Did we lose Cash just then? Oh, I can't hear anything.
Should I not message? Should I not say the word Hyperliquid? Does Chop just auto ban that in his mind?
Ban from the chat.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
But yeah, like I said, like, Hyperliquid has like 30,000-ish traders, and they built like a whatever $40 billion protocol on the back of that. So when you don't need to have as many users and you can just concentrate on power users, those power users are happy to use the web, because when you're dealing with millions of dollars, you don't worry as much about the friction. You're just like, where can I go to get the best value and what I need? And so that served crypto well until now. But certainly the kind of next step of growth, I think, is helping convert kind of casual users into power users. And for that, you really do need mobile. So it's a bit of like an order of operations thing. You need to have crypto be interesting enough and exciting enough that people want to use it. That kind of creates that value for a small set of users. Then it creates value for a larger set of users. Now, like these earning vaults, anybody that has stable coins, especially post Genius, that's going to end up being a lot of people, is going to want to earn real yield on them. And this is a great way to do that.
And actually, yeah, and on that stable, and I think you guys just got the Lulo integration came out yesterday or something like that, right?
That's right. Yeah, Lulo's integrated. I think I could say it publicly. Like OKX, Binance are going to be integrating. Other yield aggregators are going to be integrating. The goal is basically to have anyone that's getting yield for their users is going to be using Jupiter Lend as one source of that, and the best source of that, in my opinion.
No, amazing. Chop is back. Yeah. And so is one thing that I think was announced when you guys were in Istanbul for Cat Istanbul was JupNet.
Buddy.
I'm not too deep in the Jupiter trenches, so I'm not too aware of any developments. Anything we should know about JupNet and what's going on that side?
Yeah, for people who don't know, JupNet is our effort to kind of solve what we see as the number one problem in crypto as an industry, which is this kind of interchain fragmentation that is, just a massive pain, and it results in people having to use centralized offerings like Binance or whatever else. So it's an omnichain liquidity network. It's not really like an L1 in the traditional sense. Excuse me. Sorry. And the goal is basically to allow you to trade spot and perps across all chains. So you're not, our first order of business is let's try to get every asset onto Solana. We're doing, it seems like the world is coming to Solana, and so I'm still incredibly bullish Solana, but there will always be other chains that people also are interested in trading assets on. And that's really where JupNet comes into play. So you can think about it like a decentralized Binance, basically, that's genuinely decentralized, because we actually believe in that as a concept. Go figure. And so we've done a bunch of like really cool technical innovations in terms of the identity system, in terms of how transactions are kind of validated and executed across chains, and so on and so forth. Right now, the latest update is, stay tuned, it's still our update. In the next, what can I say here? In the next few months, people will be able to see it for sure, and hopefully start playing around with it in a very limited capacity. We're taking the security of it incredibly seriously, given that it's a entirely novel approach to solving this problem. And we want to make sure that all funds are kind of secure. So we'll probably roll it out first as like a public preview where people can just see it, then into like a testnet or like a testing phase or a beta phase where there's maybe caps of whatever, $10 million per chain or something like that, and then keep kind of scaling up from there. But it is very much en route. Shout out to Nick and the rest of the gang who's not sleeping as they try to make that real.
This might be a controversial question, Cash, but has there been blowback from Solana or within the Solana community about you guys bringing up your own chain or trying to do things separate to Solana in a sense, or not?
Yeah, there's been certainly there's been some. I think after the announcement, there was much more than there is now, as people kind of came to understand that Jupe.ag is not going anywhere. We're the 7th biggest Solana validator right now. By the end of the month, we're going to be the 3rd biggest. We really care about the network. We just announced we're doing like an open RPC foundation so that everyone can have access to high quality RPCs for free. We give out our APIs for free. We do a lot of stuff to give back. and we don't plan on changing that. Jupe is never going to be deployed on other chains. It's always going to be a Solana thing first. So once people kind of got over the initial shock, I think that became more exciting. And once they kind of figured out that, hey, this is hopefully going to be net good for Solana as well, right? It means more liquidity coming to Solana assets, more awareness and trading of these kind of assets from people on Ethereum, for example, who for whatever reason might have some kind of ideological opposition to using Solana. But they can use JupeNet and still get access to those same assets. So hopefully it's kind of like a net additive for Solana as a whole. One thing that Jupiter did that I think is underappreciated is create this meritocratic DeFi environment on Solana, right? Like without Jupiter, there are no prop AMMs, right? Like there's no SolFi, there's no GoonFi, there's none of these like Humidify, these kind of guys that are really improving the market microstructure really rapidly. And I think that's what we want to do for all of crypto as a whole with JupeNet is just let the best tech win out and let liquidity and assets let liquidity and attention flow to whichever tech is the best and has the assets that people want to trade the most. In my opinion, that's Solana. So I think Solana is going to come out a net winner in that sense. But hey, who knows? Maybe in the future it's something else.
It seems to be a bit of a trend, people spinning up their own chains to do this kind of thing. Do you expect that to accelerate or to continue? That's is the trend going to stick?
I think it is certainly from just like an economic standpoint. There's a lot of incentive to do it for folks, right? It's like if you have your own chain, you can then get valued on the L1 level instead of on the app level, and there's like a real multiple there. And I think that it's a great story for teams that maybe have kind of like run out of room to grow in their particular domain. Jupiter, thankfully, does not have that problem. As you see, like we just keep adding new products on Solana and just do it all. But others are maybe more, for whatever strategic reasons, deciding only to do one thing, and their only next step of growth is to kind of go the app chain model. So I don't think it'll go anywhere just because of the financial incentives to do so. I don't expect a lot of them to be successful. You have to have a lot of distribution and a lot of kind of differentiation for it to work out. Hype is doing it now with Hype EVM. That makes sense. They have like differentiated liquidity, differentiated users, differentiated distribution. Maybe they can make it work. Jupiter, I think, is in a similar camp of like, hey, maybe we can make it work. But again, we're not trying to switch over. I haven't paid too much attention to Unichain, so I don't actually know what's going on over there. But I know like Uniswap launched their own chain. Do you guys have a sense? Like, is that like working out right now, or it's hard to get traction on these kinds of things? I feel if they're general purpose. But yeah, what have you guys seen?
I don't have a sense on the Uniswap side of things, but what prompted the question was seeing how much revenue Solana has been making recently due to transactions, and seeing how much of that is coming from Pump.Fund, which are also planning on sort of doing a similar thing and launching their own chain and moving things over there. And I wonder like how that is eventually going to play out for them, because Pump do have what Unichain I don't think have, which is great distribution and an interesting model that people seem to be latching onto and using. And when that moves over, how is that going to affect fees and what happens on Solana and how they deal with that moving forward? I think is going to be really interesting, because I see it personally. I think that see the trend as accelerating. I think more and more people will do that so long as they have the economics backing them, as long as they've got that distribution and that core base of users ready to follow them and to back them into doing that.
Yeah, I think it's so with Super Team, which is what I did before Jupiter. Like we did a lot of ecosystem building. That was like the main thing that we did, was try to like help build the Solana ecosystem, particularly of builders. And I can tell you, it is so fucking hard that I don't think that anybody appreciate. Like, I mean, maybe these teams have done their research, but there's no way to know until you try to do it. Building out like a vibrant ecosystem around like your own chain is very, very difficult. It's why like when I talk about JupeNet, I talk about it as a product. It's not meant to be a general purpose L1, which is like attracting developers. We're going to build this big ecosystem. It's going to do like one thing. Even if you look at Hyperliquid, like the relative adoption of Hype EVM versus the Hyperliquid product is, still a few orders of magnitude smaller, because it's really, really difficult. So I'm sure many will try. I'm sure most will fail pretty spectacularly, and maybe some people can make it work. But Solana ultimately has the advantage of having like the users, the high quality network, the assets that people really want, and so people will go wherever the assets are. People will go wherever the liquidity is, and liquidity and assets will follow wherever the people are. So you get this kind of, you need this kind of multi-faceted approach to be able to succeed in this. And maybe some will be able to do it. Obviously, I hope JupeNet's able to do it. I hope we're able to get people in. But with JupeNet, we're solving like a very clearly defined problem that people have. I don't know if that's always true for a lot of these other app chains that are coming out.
Interesting. Cash, I've got a couple of questions here from our beloved community members. I'm sure you probably know a couple of these, but we've got one from Gnarly asking when NFTs are going to be available on the Jupiter mobile app, so he can show off his Titanium and other NFTs.
If that's the Gnarly that I know and love, then that's not the first time I've heard him ask that question. Listen, we thought it would happen already.
The one and only.
We honestly, we're very eager to make it happen. It should happen before the end of the year. It has turned out to be harder to index NFT prices than I think initially expected, but it is very much in the works, I would say. The honest truth, and I say this as a guy that likes NFTs and traded NFTs and whatever, like the demand for us to do that is just substantially lower than it is, for example, building Lend into the app, right? So from like a prioritization standpoint, it's hard to make it the most urgent thing, even though it is something that I and everybody else I know cares about. We just don't care about it as much as like getting yield with one click, for example. So Gnarly, I appreciate you asking, man. Don't stop asking. We will make it happen. But it's gotta fight for the roadmap space like everything else.
Oh, don't worry, Cash. He definitely won't stop asking. He's also asking. This is a more of a governance-based question, which is an interesting one. Will there ever be a day where Jupiter removes the 30-day staking lockup?
I think it's definitely possible. Like even now, what we're thinking of is like, oh well, what if you can do it in 14 days, and to do that, you have to pay some kind of penalty that then goes to the DAO treasury, or the Jupe gets burned or something like that. So yeah, I think there is a way to do it. The hard thing for us is like we give yield to people that stake, right, through this thing called active staking rewards. So staking is a financial activity, and the whole idea is that like if you're not willing to wait at least 30 days, then you don't deserve more tokens. It's as simple as that, right? It's like people would be like, hey, give me the money and let me unstake instantly as well. Sure, I can understand that they would like that more, but I want Jupe tokens to go into the hands of people that are comfortable holding it for, God forbid, 30 whole days. Which is like an insane thing. Like we're giving, I don't know, like 5 to 6% APY per quarter, and people are like, no, give me more APY with less of a lockup. Like, I mean, come on. So maybe if we ever did, it would certainly have some kind of like penalty component to it. It would not be that like you get to have your cake and eat it too. Either you're long-term aligned, which again we're defining as 30 days, which is kind of laughable, or you're left aligned. I do also think that like I'm particularly interested in like longer lockups actually. So people want, there's that old line, if in sales, I don't know if you guys have done sales, but if somebody ever asks you like, oh, can you do it for less? You just say, well, I could do it for more. And then people kind of stop. So yeah, like we could increase the staking thing just as easily as we decrease it, right? Which way it goes, we'll see. And hopefully we have different paths that allow different people to kind of get what they want out of it. But yeah, we're not going to make it like one day and then keep the same ASR structure that we have right now.
Makes sense. I've got one final one here from another user, and it's asking, when will we be able to move the decimal point to adjust the amounts in the swap function? Having max or 25% increments in the swap is not great. So I think he's talking about the buttons that you can press.
Oh, that's interesting. You want the ask is to like make that to customize it?
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking.
Within Jupiter Mobile. Huh. I don't know if I haven't heard that one actually. Yeah, let me see if Aaron and the boys are able to put that together.
Yeah. That's an interesting question because I actually never thought about that. Generally, the standard is you do 0%, 25%, 50%, 100%. You just ape it all in, and it's nice and yeah.
Yeah, right now we have 50, 75, and 100%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but hey, well heard. If you haven't already, buddy, put it on feedback.jupe.ag. And if enough other people agree with you, then we'll prioritize it.
There you go, D Ranger. I'm sure he will listen back to this because I told him I would ask that question. So he'll be holding me to account like a good community member should. So there you go, D Ranger. I've got it out there for you. Is there anything you want to mention, Cash? Is there anything we haven't covered about Jupiter that you think people should know about, or that you are really proud of that Jupiter is doing and people should know about?
I gotta say, shout out to my guy Guam. Jupiter Portfolio remains the most slept on product in all of crypto, point blank period. It is just like, it's the first thing I check when I wake up. It is such an incredible platform. I've found thousands of dollars because I used it on all my different wallets. And it's just the best. So, and it's free, by the way, as well. So if anyone is watching this and you have one wallet or 100 wallets, go use Jupiter Portfolio. Your life will immediately become better. It shows you like your net yield on how you're getting on your whole portfolio, for example, which is like a feature no one else has. I mean, I think I don't know if it's already been launched. Or in the next few hours, there's going to be like an airdrop component to it as well. That's going to be super exciting for folks. Total net worth over time. We track 150 protocols, I think. So yeah, go check that out, including pit staking, by the way. You'll be able to see your pit staking right there within the view.
I love it. Cool. Pepito, do you have any questions for Cash before I do our final?
I do not. But yeah, I love Jupe Portfolio. Met Guillaume quite a few times in events in France and so on. Great, fantastic guys and team. Last final one, I guess. It was you guys did the stake Jupe with RainFi. Is this something that people use quite a bit, or they just do the regular staking through Jupiter?
Yeah. So to clarify, RainFi did that kind of permissionlessly on top of Jupe. So we didn't actually participate in the build out, and don't undersign or don't come to me for refunds or anything like that. But yeah, so RainFi has a liquid stake Jupe option. I don't think it's so we have something like 600 million Jupe staked, which is worth, I don't even know what the price of Jupe is anymore, but call it 500,000, or sorry, call it $300 million, something like that. I think that there's like low single digit millions in the liquid stake Jupe contract so far. So I don't think we've seen tons of usage of it. These liquid stake tokens become much more valuable when you can do other stuff in DeFi with them. And right now there hasn't really been like a big usage of it. Honestly, I'm not super excited about it. Like, you won't see me telling people to use it for that same reason I mentioned earlier. It's like, we're giving you money, like, keep it there. Like, that's the cost that you pay to get the APY through active staking rewards. But yeah, I think it's one of the beautiful things about DeFi though. Like, I don't know if he's doxed, Whitey, I think he goes by, is like, those guys are incredible builders. It's like nothing but the highest level of respect for them. They saw an opportunity and they built something cool on top, and they're trying to get people to use it. God bless them. I wish them nothing but the best.
Awesome. I actually have one other one as well, Cash. Are you guys going to either? Is there going to be some Jupiter representatives at Korean Blockchain Week or Token 2049 coming up later in
Yes,
September?
to both.
Early October.
So I will personally be at KBW along with a few homies like Ben and Joe. I think we're doing some side events. Like, we're doing one with Fragmatic, excuse me, and I think we're going to be at the stablecoin thing that Eno is doing. That's going to be a lot of fun. So shout out my guy Eno. And probably a few other things. And then, we'll be at Token as well. I think we have a main stage slot over there with which shaping up to be a very exciting announcement. So I do encourage people to go if they're there. Keep an eye out for that. So yeah, we should be at both those. You guys going?
Awesome. Yeah, I'll see you there. I'll be there. It's in my neck of the woods. It's much closer for me to travel there in Asia from an Australian time zone. I'm very much looking forward to it. So I'll see you there, Cash.
Sounds like a plan, buddy. Pepito, you joining us too?
No, I'm locked in the basement.
Bullish. That's bullish for Pip.
Yeah.
It is bullish with this. That's right. Cash, I have the same question I ask every one of our guests at the end, which is if you were joining crypto today, looking for a way to get full-time work or to fully immerse yourself in the space, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself now if you were joining and starting from zero today?
Ooh, if I'm only allowed one piece of advice.
Oh,
Visit Super Team. I
two.
have a
I'll
lot
give
of
you
stuff
two. I'll
on
give you
there.
two.
You get to? All right, cool. Well, so the first one is definitely join your local super team. It is like by far the best way to get going. There's bounties and grants that you can get very easily. If you just put in some work. There's a service called Super Team Talent, which is like a free recruiting agency that will help you get jobs. I think they've already placed dozens of people. I think through Super Team, it's been a few hundred people now that have gotten jobs. So if you're looking for a job or want to get a start, Super Team is definitely the place to learn, network, whatever. It's entirely free. It's just there to help you. So that's one. And if I could give a less kind of biased answer or a less like shilly answer, I would say the key is to focus. The problem with crypto is that there's like 100 interesting things happening every single day. And I know it happened for me and it's happened for a lot of other people who are new. You just try to learn about all of it. And you're like, well, I can't be in crypto and not understand Deepin and DeFi and, Fired Answer versus Agave and, whatever consensus mechanisms and NFTs and like just pick one lane. It's fully acceptable to be, and in fact, very helpful to be very dumb about most things and very smart about one thing. Too many people in crypto try to learn it all, and then they end up getting a really shallow understanding of everything. And that's not the way that you can actually like stick around and be really successful long term, I think. So just go deep on oracles and just be like, learn everything about oracles. You could spend a fucking lifetime learning about oracles and not know it all, right? So just do that if that's what if you're watching this and you're interested in that. If you care about lending, then just go learn about lending. If you care about options, go do that. But try to like pick an area that's really exciting to you and go deep. Of course, you got to sample a few to know what's exciting. But once you kind of find something that is interesting to you, stay on that road. Do not get the shiny object syndrome and be like, oh, now it's like restaking is the thing that I really should care about. Or, whatever, like DATs today. DATs are very cool. Public markets are very cool. But, that's probably not going to be your way to success right now at this point in time, right? So if you're new to the space, pick a lane, stick to it, even when it's unsexy, and the rewards will start to come to you.
Awesome. Fantastic answer.
And
Cash.
I doubled down on the Super Team thing because this is how I got my first few couple paid gigs in crypto. Translating app in French and writing a piece about NFT lending protocol.
Amazing. See, you got success stories all over the place.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And now he's the goddamn golf advisor to the president. I mean, look how far it's come. It's very impressive.
Who would have thought?
It's that easy. It's that easy. Fantastic. Cash, this has been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Of course, man. Thanks for having us on. And thanks to everyone at Pyth for helping out on Jupiter Lend and making sure that our pricing stays stellar at all times.
Boom. Thank you, Cash. Have a great day and recover well. Get better fast.
Yes, get well soon.
Thanks, buddy. I'm actually just going to go lie down right now. So, because I have our planetary call in a few hours that I have to hear my video on. So pray for me. Send vitamin C. I'll see you guys soon.
See you, Cash.
Sir. Boom. Amazing.
Hell yeah. My brain's bigger after that. Admittedly, did not know a whole lot about the additional Jupiter products. I'm going to have to do the portfolio thing because that is something I genuinely need. I have to check that out for all my sign-ups. See if I can.
It's really good. I mean, just I don't think there's many competitors to this or something that comes close to this in the space at the moment. But yeah, all your hidden airdrops are found in the Jupe portfolio.
It's the first time I list it tomorrow morning. Get on the Jupe portfolio.
Just want to shout out Kieran here. Crazy how only 3 people are watching. So thanks for watching, Kieran. on YouTube. I want to be careful, but yes, we have likely 3 people on YouTube, but quite a few here on X. So, Kieran, thanks for watching.
Thanks, Kieran. We're doing good numbers on X. Come over on X. Actually, no, don't come over to X, Kieran. Keep our got to keep our 3 people baseline on YouTube, please.
Kieran, you better subscribe and like the video on YouTube now that you have outed yourself as a YouTube watcher. Amazing, Chop. It's a big day. It's a big day. Excited for to have had cash on, and I think good things are happening today and the rest of the month.
They certainly will be. Exciting. It's Pithtember. We've got plenty going on.
You've been warned. You've been warned. Sir, see you next week for number 20, I believe. This was 19, number 20.
God damn, it's going fast. 20 already. That's 20 weeks of doing this.
That'd be a good challenge to name each guest we had over the 20.
Ooh, that would
be a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get them all.
No, I'm not sure if I can do it all either. All right. Mission accepted for the end of next.
Yeah, we'll start with this. We'll do a quiz. Chop, Pythians, thanks for joining in. And see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.